What's going on, everyone? So I haven't really talked about the LeBron situation because every year it's the same thing, right? Every year is the year that he leaves. Every year the Lakers are going to trade him. Every year it's just to me a lot of just media noise, right? Like that's all they want to talk about is LeBron leaving. It's just there's like 15 other things going on, and they want to talk about LeBron James leaving the Lakers. Look, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. It's possible, right? I don't ever want to rule it out. And look, I've even said in the past when I have been asked about it in live streams and stuff like that, it is probably best for all sides to probably depart at this time, right? Lakers landed Luka. That's their present and future, right? So if LeBron really does want to leave, I do think for LeBron to kind of go one last hoorah, Lakers kind of focus and build around Luka and kind of carve out this roster in a way, you're going to get some assets for LeBron because LeBron's not going to go to one of these terrible teams. He's going to go to a title contender, the Warriors or the Cleveland Cavaliers is where I think he'd probably end up going, or there's talks about Dallas or whatever. So they're going to get back players and assets that could potentially keep them in the conversation and running, depending on, how they kind of shape up the rest of this roster. But something recently happened that I think is more telling than anything, in my opinion, right? Like, for the most part, I think all of it's just kind of been noise, right? It's all kind of just been smoke. But Deandre Ayton added to the Lakers, right? Him and Luka could potentially be the foundation of this team going forward. You might have found your center and your point guard, not just for this season, but potentially the next 6 to 8 years if it works out, right? Well, Deandre Ayton talked about how, hey, LeBron hasn't reached out to me. Now, he didn't say it in that way. He was a lot more professional and nice about it, and I did like what he said. He was asked if Luka and LeBron had reached out to him, and he said he hasn't heard from LeBron yet, and then kind of positioned it as like, hey, it's the off season. I know how it works. Guys are busy. LeBron's out there doing his golf swing. So clearly he doesn't have time to text me like, hey, welcome to the Lakers. But Luka did, right? And he's in overseas right now getting ready for the Euro Cup, or I think he might have already started, right? Like that to me is probably the most telling thing thus far. Because, how hard is it to shoot him a text? Silly like, hey, welcome, social media posts like, hey, excited for Ayton. Again, all the noise, all the, he's leaving, he's not leaving, like all of that to me is just noise. But like, this is your teammate. This is the guy that's going to be slotted alongside you if he stays, slotted alongside you in the front court, right? LeBron at the 4, Ayton at the 5. Like, this is the guy that, again, could be a real difference maker and ceiling raiser. What if the Lakers had Deandre Ayton in this last go around? It might have been a very different scenario. Like that to me is very odd. I don't want to say again that like, that's it. That's the proof. That's the confirmation that LeBron is getting traded. I don't know, right? But that's just very strange to me that he has it, that he didn't at least like, hey, hey, welcome to the Lakers, right? Like you didn't have to do anything crazy, just like, hey, glad to be teammates, whatever, right? Like, and the fact that he didn't, again, I think is pretty interesting, right? Like, is he really? Maybe he really is considering it. I mean, he's not getting any older or any younger, right? He's only getting older. So if he was ever going to do it, now's probably the time for him to leave. Opted in, you go and trade him, work out some type of trade, some type of move. The other thing is if LeBron isn't excited about Deandre Ayton, right? Okay, Jake LaRavia, even though I think he'll be pretty good, but I get he's a bit of an unknown, right? Like question mark, he's young, right? Like what does he look like on this roster? You lose Dorian Finney-Smith, sure, but you wouldn't have been able to get Ayton if you ended up keeping Doe, right? Like, but to me, it's like, okay, if LeBron James doesn't get excited about Deandre Ayton, who, I mean, if we're being honest, is probably the best center the Lakers could have gotten, even via trade. Just all the names that are out there, and the exact type of center that would make Luka great, or would be great alongside Luka. Look, Deandre Ayton is like the exact type of center that you would, if you could build a center in a lab, I've said this before, you build a center in a lab, like DeAndre Ayton is that type of center. Right? So, and LeBron James literally has the exact player that he's been begging for years. And a Luka Doncic that can take the pressure off him, have the ball in his hands, allow LeBron to play off ball. Oh, yeah, and by the way, be the clear-cut number one option, which is, again, what supposedly LeBron's wanted, right? Like, it's why the Lakers went and got Dennis Schroeder. It's why they went and got Russell Westbrook. It's why they went and got D'Angelo Russell, because LeBron James didn't want to handle the point guard duties anymore. He didn't want to have the responsibility of having to be the main guy on ball. And he was screaming for Anthony Davis to be the number one guy and let him kind of take a backseat as he gets into his later years. He's literally got everything. LeBron James has never played with a player as good as Luka Doncic. Right? I love Dwayne Wade. Right? Dwayne Wade was one of my favorite players growing up, right? I love Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, all those guys. Those are all great. Anthony Davis, I love him. Luka Doncic, for what he does and how good he is and whatnot, like, I mean, you're talking about a guy that may go down as, not that some of those other guys haven't been all-time greats, but, I mean, Luka is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And probably the closest thing to a LeBron James we've seen since LeBron James. And is, again, arguably the greatest player he's ever played alongside and ever will. Just like LeBron is the greatest player Luka's ever played alongside and probably ever will. Right? What does that look like for a full season? I'd love to see what those two look like for a full season. You know, like now LeBron doesn't have to be the guy. Now he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands so much. Now he can kind of preserve himself. You know, you got a legit potential franchise center. They didn't just go get some random, like Daniel Gafford, where it's like, all right, like, yeah, Daniel Gafford's great. Like, as fans would probably be excited about it, but it's like, okay, like, it's not gonna, like, the potential of DeAndre Ayton could be, again, game-changing. Talking about a guy that people look at as lazy and no motor and this, that, and the other, and was an 18-10 guy. What does he look like when he does buy in and has a motor? And if, again, everything he's saying, it's one thing to say something, it's another thing to actually prove it. But he's like, dude, I get to play with LeBron James and Luka Doncic, and they're going to turn me back into form. I mean, those are his words. Get him back into form. Right? Like, and Luka Doncic and LeBron James could absolutely get him into form. Right? You got your buddy Austin Reeves still on the roster. You got, like what else does he want? You know, like, that's the other thing, too. Like, what can the Lakers do that appease LeBron enough to where he goes, this is it? Because, look, I said this on AIS The Lakers Show, outside of, like, you know, little just comments and live stream and stuff, kind of pretty much the only time I talked about it, right? And I talked about how, like, the Lakers need to know what LeBron is going to do. It's very important because the decisions that the Lakers make could be predicated on LeBron James, right? Because if LeBron leaves and you're going to go and make trades and you're going to go do that stuff to trade LeBron, right? Like, you need to see what that is first. Right? So, for example, he wants to go to Cleveland. You're trading for a Jared Allen and a Darius Garland more likely than not. Like, and I've seen people be like, "Oh, Cleveland wouldn't do it." They wouldn't have a choice. They have to, right? If they really want to get LeBron, like supposedly they'd be open to, and it makes sense for Cleveland because they get to kind of go for that one push. They could potentially win. Dan Gilbert would do it. Like, it makes sense for them, and then they also have the financial flexibility the following season or two after LeBron leaves, right? So it makes a ton of sense for Cleveland in several ways beyond just like, oh, they land LeBron James. But you don't need Jared Allen now. Jared Allen makes no sense now because you got DeAndre Ayton, right? So, and Darius Garland makes no sense now because you have a Luka Doncic. So now it has to be a 3 or 4 team trade, which it probably would have to be anyway. But now you're using those guys to go get pieces that you need to round out the roster. Right? And trying to upgrade. Or can you turn those guys into a star? Is there a star that goes, wait a minute, LeBron's about to leave? Right? Does Giannis go, hang on, time out. LeBron's about to leave. I could go to Lakers and play with Luka. And Milwaukee could get a nice package, you know, going forward. Right? Get a Jared Allen and a Darius Garland Or they could turn Jared Allen because they got Miles Turner. They could turn Jared Allen into something else or try to run both. Right? And I could go play with Luka. And on a second, maybe I'll do that. Right? Like, who knows? Again, I don't know. Right? But the other side of that is like, if LeBron stays, then the Lakers need to go make trades and moves in order to keep, make it make sense so you can go try to win. Right? But again, if you're the Lakers, you don't want to go make certain moves and then LeBron leaves. Right? Like, maybe now you don't want to go get an Andrew Wiggins because LeBron's leaving. So it's like, hey, let's preserve the cap space so we can sign a guy next year. Right? Hey, Luka, I just need you to bear with us for a year so we can go get a guy or wait for that trade or whatever. Right? Like, again, you don't want to sell your assets and make a move under the assumption that our two stars are going to be Luka and LeBron. And then LeBron leaves. Now it's like, okay, we have Luka and a bunch of role guys. Right? Yeah, maybe Austin Reeves kind of takes that next step, but what if he doesn't? Right? And what happens if he's a no-show in the playoffs like he has been? Again, it's just, you need to find out. But the fact that LeBron James didn't reach out to Deandre Ayton, or at least yet, maybe he does. But I think it'd be a little odd now because it's kind of like, did you do it because you felt it? Or did you do it because he said that didn't happen and now people are talking about it? Just saying. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.